Okay, everybody, welcome to the sort of first episode of the, what are we calling ourselves? The Vancouver Island Business Podcast.
Really? Did we decide that?
Corporate came up with it. They shoved it down our throats.
It's a sucky name.
Well, are we going to do this live? Come up with a name?
Okay, onwards. Whatever we're called. It'll
Okay, the EOVI podcast version 1B, because the first one was an atrocious disaster. Very special, because we have our first guest today. Should we introduce our guest?
Let's get to our guest later. Let's hit. We've got news to hit. We've got stuff we got to talk about.
Shut down.
Paul's going to come in time.
Oh, but there was a little foreshadowing there. People have to figure out who Paul is. Which Paul is it? So many Pauls. Well, do you want to tell us about the theme? Are we allowed to talk about that?
Well, we were going to talk about uncertainty today.
The theme is uncertainty. Like in the math sense, or?
We entrepreneurs are grizzled folks that cope in the realm of the unknown. And yeah, so we want to talk about that weird skill set that we have.
We have apparently the Bank of Canada, another rate cut is coming. How many more will there be? Are they perhaps being a little bit hurried by the impending doom of maybe tariffs, maybe not? Colombia certainly learned the hard way.
You're looking at me with eyes as if I would have any kind of insight as to what
I know this is your favorite
going on these days.
Well, we're depending on you to carry the show, Tom. But regardless of how much you follow stuff's going on. Things are happening. There is a lot of talk, whether you believe it's going to happen or not. You know, where is the economy going? I know in EO circles, we're always having conversations about like, what does this mean for your business? And I think secretly, we're always hoping the other person's going to say, oh, no, we're good. It won't affect us at all. And that's not usually the answer. And everybody's definitely, in my experience, anecdotally, the people I'm talking to are definitely thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I know that I was very anxious. We source a ton of our stuff from the States, from China, and I was really worried about what was going to happen tariff-wise. I mean, I'm feeling somewhat comforted just more recently that nothing's going to happen suddenly or dramatically, but for sure, it throws a lot of things into the realm of what the fuck.
Mm. First F-bomb of the show, people. Door has been opened.
Well, for us too.
I was going to ask, how are you guys feeling over there? Paul from Yeshi Dressing entering the conversation.
We're hoping it doesn't go through, because 25% right off the top is going to be a challenge for us as we just move into the U.S. market, right? Very uncertain.
Now, we definitely could start the show on a downturn. See what I did there? We could start the show on a down and talk about all the negative. That's definitely not what we're here to do, though. I think we can all agree that the news is it can give you that uneasiness feeling. It can make you feel uncertain. But as a leader, how are you showing up? How are your people dealing with this? Are they talking about it at work? What strategies do you guys have personally? And what strategies do you have from a business perspective to ride through this? At the end of the day, this is speculation. You just like full steam ahead, or are you being proactive and you've got backup plans and other ways of moving forward should the worst happen? Jump in, anyone.
For me, we're just full steam ahead. We're assuming it's not going to happen, and we're assuming that our great government of Canada is going to do its job. And
I just have to jump in. Paul and I, we like to have lunch together on a fairly regular basis, a little bit lacking recently. That is what he says all the time. I have to actually shut Paul up because he's constantly, great government of Canada this, great government. I just had to explain how much.
I feel like that's what it goes back.
I was shocked. I was shocked to hear those words come into your mouth. So I just had to bring it up and just point out that is a little uncommon. But you have confidence in the government, whether it is Freeland, whether it is Mr. Poilievre, whether it's Trudeau changes his mind, or
that brings up something for me, because a lot of people have spent a lot of time shit talking our government, and I'm good either way on that. But it is a funny time, and it's sort of like, in a way, I don't care who's in charge. I'm gonna kind of line up behind them right now, because
it's wartime.
Because we need some leadership.
Absolutely, wartime. You get behind your government, 100%. And we've actually seen that in the last. I mean, we've actually always seen that. I was going to say in the last decade, there's been a few really good examples where you've got a couple of parties that are diametrically opposed going after each other, and then something happens to unite us. And then all of a sudden, publicly in Parliament.
And I think a lot of us have trouble getting out of that track too. You've been kind of on this negative track about something for a while, and you don't even notice yourself being negative about it.
Yeah. And to your point too, unfortunately, the politics of division, to borrow some marketing terms, it's just so, it's so easy to be cynical, almost enjoyable at times, but there's nothing good comes from it. You mix cynicism with speculation, you got a potential recipe for disaster. So again, it comes back to the question, Tom, you said you're full steam ahead, Paul. You've got confidence that whoever the leadership is, they're going to guide us.
Well, right now we're not too deep into it.
Yeah.
So we're at about 100 stores and trying to push forward. If there are tariffs for a few months or a little while, it's not going to be a big deal. But if it becomes a thing and it actually rides out for a longer period of time until either after we have a new government or whatever happens, then we'll have to make some adjustments. But right now it's all full steam ahead because we don't have enough revenue coming in there. We're still loading stores and basically paying for marketing. So we're not going to get much revenue out of that for a year or two anyway.
Yeah, right. Planting the seeds. Long term. Right. So that's that's the business perspective. Do the people that you work with, the people in your organization, yourself, are they being affected by this, or is it just you're sort of communicating, we're full steam ahead, we have confidence in the future, we're good?
Yeah, like you say, we're just straight up go for it. Everybody's on board. Nobody seems to think anything differently, so we'll just do it and see where we land.
Nice. Tom, you've had a lot of time, so we're expecting some pretty earth-shattering answers on this stuff. So how are you grappling with this stuff?
I'm a stoic about it in two ways. Recognizing that the two things you have control over are your actions and your thoughts. And so I recognize my thoughts and say to myself, hey, I can think about this differently. The other thing too is just, we do the work. We show up every day. We do our work. We have no guarantee what the outcome is going to be. And if our work is going to be well received, if it's going to go to shit, if it's going to be a New York Times bestseller, we just have so little control over that. But what you do have control over is you show up and you do the things you think will make you successful. And you show up and you keep doing it every day.
So,
agreed.
Yeah, no, that's actually wonderful advice. And I would imagine, just as a leader, when the people you're working with and your staff and the people in your life, when they see that, there's probably some comfort there.
It's so challenging too. And our environment is so drama filled compared to a couple decades ago, I think, whether we're just talking about political leaders, whether we're talking about what people do every day on Twitter or Facebook or whatever. It's just so much drama. And to sidestep it and just see the things that actually matter is a real challenge. I've got this great guy who works for me, my CFO, Howard, and whenever we're embroiled in some like project management fight or battling with some general contractor or something, he's just great. Just Tom, facts, just facts, right? And so you look at your email and you say, oh yeah. Right. Yeah. That was emotion. Oh, that was something me trying to like get a barb in. It's just like, okay, let's redo this. Facts, only facts. Right. And when you read someone's stuff too, it's like, oh yeah, no, I can ignore that. I can ignore that. I can ignore that. What are the facts in here? Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
It's not really, we're not living in an age of facts maybe, but anyway, that's my own coping mechanism.
I try and smile when I write emails because whether you're angry or not, if you're smiling, it somehow comes through.
Yeah, this is sort of a good segue. Not that we're trying to segue away from uncertainty as a theme, but in those times, if we get to a time where if there is a tariff or if for whatever reason, we have to find other ways of increasing our GDP, and that means some innovation. The email thing, a very minor version of innovation, but I have been known among those that know me to get spicy at times. And that can be a bad thing if you're emailing people. One of my favorite, most cathartic things, I did it yesterday. There's a customer who shall remain unnamed, who owes us $125,000. So revenues are not at 10 million. So if someone owes me $125,000, it might as well be $1 billion. And so I got to write the email how I want to write it. And I am swearing. And there's all caps, lots of exclamation points. And then I take it over to Sage, my AI, and I'm like, yeah, so rewrite this, please. Exactly like you said, Tom. Just the facts, no emotion, please. And then it writes a perfect email. It's about 1/3 the length tops. And it's just the things. It's polite. It's straightforward. But I got to write the meanie email and send the proper professional email all in one go. And I felt great.
And then you get to tell AI, wait a minute, that's not what I meant. Can you be a little spicier?
Yeah. No, I'm right with you. Zero spice. Just that email was just very much, happy to send you stuff.
So here's the thing. So when you're in the email format, you can say, I'm just going to talk about facts. And then you can put in like, hey, here's the challenging facts that I'm going to present. But then when you get in person, which is often the way better place to deal with, hey, you owe me $160,000. Then it's super challenging to put those really hard facts out. I was just in a meeting today on a Zoom call. And, and it wasn't particularly productive. After the meeting, I called up one of the guys and said, what the fuck's there? And he said, Tom, we're having a meeting after the meeting, right? So obviously that was a bad meeting. So why didn't we bring up in the meeting the things that really needed to be talked about, right? And that was a great reminder for me. It's like, yes, right. We weren't talking about the hard facts in that person-to-person meeting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish these people would talk to us then.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a big part of it. They ghost you, right? And,
100%.
I mean, obviously they don't have the money or there's something going on with their business, right? I mean, we all know that. We've all probably been in that situation, but just talk about it. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm having a problem here. Can I pay you $10,000 at a time for the next 2 years? Anything is better than nothing,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Not that you would agree to that, but you'd say, give me something.
We in fact did agree to that exact thing, and we got one payment.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Our AR policies are slightly different than they used to be. Now, moving on further to our theme, innovation, as it relates to these sorts of situations. Is anyone, and I mean this, I don't want to have a whole AI conversation because I feel like that's happened many places in many ways already, but is anybody out there in the market seeing or experiencing pushes towards innovation as a result of this thing? Like in my own world, as an example, one, like a producer in my world who produces our product, when we started, they produced about $350K in revenue per person. And that was for someone who's very good at what they do. Moving on to this year, like right now, that number is somewhere north of 500K. Part of that is because of all the new tools and AI and things like that we can do. Part of that is just us being extremely cautious about how we spend money going forward. And that's being cautious about how we spend money doesn't mean keeping the money in the bank necessarily. It just means how we're spending it. Like rather than just go get the body, what tools can we get so that we can make somebody more productive? What training can we invest in? All that sort of stuff. And it's made us a lot more innovative. And like we're spending a lot of money on building platforms, like 2 at one time. Don't recommend it. I know you're thinking about it. Maybe it's top secret. But yeah, that's just some of how I am experiencing it. How about you guys?
Oh my gosh.
I've just offended
you. So, anyone who knows me, I kind of fall on the creative end of whatever spectrum. And so I actually find it a little painful right now that there's so much opportunity, so much change, so much like going on that, like you said, I mean, I've got an estimating AI kind of app that we're going to be launching soon. And I just feel like there's 100 products I should be working on all at the same time.
That's the same with me.
Yeah.
I'm just for me, I'm just kind of like, everything is set, and I have a tendency to want change and want innovation, but my industry doesn't really innovate, especially the category that we're in. Tough for us to, I mean, we're already a new dressing to that category, right? So we're an innovative dressing. But when you go into the States and you talk to the category manager for dressings, they're like, oh, dressing? Really? Like, come to me with something new. And I'm like, we are, but you don't even know it, right? You got to try it first. But I always think, okay, how can we make something different? How can we make something new? Let's do a cracker. Let's do this. Let's do that. And I have to bring it back, and I have to keep going, okay, well, wait a minute. Just stick with the status quo. This is what's working. If you want to develop something else, well, then I'm going to have to hire more people. I'm going to have to start putting pressure on the resources that we have for the time being. So I'm just kind of set it.
But what's hard to understand though right now is just burden of writing software is a third of what it used to be, or maybe less, right? All the rules of the game are kind of changing. Software is being reimagined. Databases are being reimagined. My imagination runs with it, right? So.
I'm 48. I was in super nerd school. I was at a place called the Technical University of British Columbia. It was Canada's newest university at the time. It came as a result of a bunch of eggheads but I use that term lovingly, who had toured the top places. Like, they'd gone to Harvard, look at they were doing in tech. They were looking at Waterloo, all these places. They came up with our university. We were doing all these things that had never done before. You were, walking through the halls. There'd be chips all over boards, soldering guns, people coding software, and at the same time teaching the business end how to like project manage and sell this stuff. All this amazing stuff. I was at that university when the internet came out. And and we're all in the same shoes. To be alive when the internet came out, right? That was a massive shift. I remember people like just could build a website, and they were, almost millionaires overnight because they could display 4 colors on a page, or I remember at my, not even high school, when I was in grade 9, a dude in grade 10 who could code got hired by Apple. He was just a self-taught nerd, right? Uh-huh. What I'm getting at is like, that was a paradigm shift that happened. But even at that age in it, I didn't understand what that meant. Not that I fully understand it now, but now in it, in the AI revolution, whatever you want to call it, I have never been more stressed out in my life because I know I'm in it. I know.
You're missing it, even how involved you are in it.
Oh, totally.
You're still missing.
You're going to miss stuff.
It's so fast.
You know what I mean? It's just like you were saying, there's so many opportunities. You just know it's like you're a bear in a stream and the salmon are ripping by you at 1,000,000 miles an hour endlessly. And you're just trying to get a couple in your mouth. And you look across this river and there's a bear with 3 giant nets and an excavator ripping up. And you're like, damn it.
That's what I should be doing.
Yes. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's like, it's incredible. One of the things that keeps us going, especially specific to my business, is we're trying very hard to build a thing to give us a shot at something a bit bigger than we ever thought of. And if we totally fail at what we're doing, we think of the broken escalator model. Like, if you try to make an escalator and you failed, you've still got a really, really solid set of stairs. And that's sort of like what we're thinking. All of this stuff does not work. It's still going to work on all of our current products and services. It'll just, if we can try to stay in the river and play with the nets and the excavators, maybe we'll get lucky and we'll get a bump, or at least we'll stay in the game. That's the game is changing so quickly.
Well, you know this, but maybe Tom doesn't, that I was in the IT industry for 10 years, right? So I went to SAIT in Calgary and took Windows 2000 IT course, IT professional course.
Still love Windows 2000, by the way. Love it.
And then
I was in my prime then.
Yeah. And then I did that for 20 years and then went from that into Yeshi. So the technology part of it, I have that kind of in my back pocket, but I kind of keep it there because salad dressing, food production, we're not there yet. I know it definitely needs someone to innovate it, right? And that needs to come through, and especially productivities and these kinds of things need to enter those manufacturing plants and that kind of thing. But we don't own our plant anymore. So Everything's through co-packers. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to just keep that. And we'll use AI for things like marketing tools and maybe graphic design stuff, like concepts and these kinds of things. Use it for that, and business plans and these kinds of things. So that's where most of ours is focused on, that kind of thing. And I mean, it saves you, for us, it probably saves us a person right now.
Yeah.
Just being able to talk about our, like, bounce things off of the AI models right now, right? So, and there's multiple of them now. I don't use all one. And Gemini now is basically free, right?
Hilarious.
Although it can't format a Google Doc yet.
I know.
Why that? But it can do everything else, but it can't format a Google Doc.
Yeah. They're trying to charge for it. And then one day it was just all on my computer, free everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is Monday-ish last week. And we're like, we've just got to build like a wireframe to show the developers what we want for this platform that we want to do, right? Greg Nook had sent me a link to this AI developer. But for fun, I was like, I'll just check this out for a second. So fast forward to last night, which is exactly 7 days. We have a thing that the tech stack is not completely integrated, but outside of I'm trying desperately not to advertise here, by the way, which is why I'm being so vague. But the main part of the tech stack, which is required, which is being provided by a third party, there'll be some sort of integration there. So it may look like one website eventually. Obviously, it would be. But we're trying to do like ultra low cost. Let's see if we have a thing. Will people even give us $100 a month, right? But the rest of it that does all the heavy lifting, the calculations, and has customer profiles, single sign-on, all the e-commerce, all of the things, was built by me and that thing. 491 edits over 7 days, probably 30 hours, I would say, of me just sitting there grinding. I have the carpal tunnel to prove it. We would have paid on the low end 15, on the high end 30 for what we currently have. That's not including the other piece, which wasn't even possible 3 months ago. That's developed by this company out of Israel. And like it just blows my mind. I mean, you must have had something similar.
Well, I mean, yeah, no, okay. In a lot of ways, the barrier to entry is lower on a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know, what I think has probably always been our disadvantage as Canadians, or compared to the American market, where there's so much more funding available and money floating around to get things off the ground. But the ability to do so much with less is probably an advantage, is opportunity for people that are toying in the space. I mean, and my insight is like, make friends with a teenager, because if you can get young guys that can, do a bunch of the coding that is far less onerous than it used to be, and pair that with, the gray hairs that know the business applications, partner, you can bootstrap all kinds of stuff when you can marry the business intelligence with somebody who can rip through the tools.
And that's a really good comment too on the sort of like the divisions of the sectors. Like if you have self-serve, we'll say, or SaaS, whatever you want to call it, which my product could be, and as a self-serve, all of its own product, same as yours, anybody can come and copy it and just do the same thing. Zero mode. But being associated in some way, shape, or form to the service company, in my case, and I would imagine the same over for you, it's a lot different when you have standalone services versus a product service mix. And I wish I had the report in front of me, but there was a sort of standalone AI services market that they see in the next 10 years. And it's like a multiple billions, obviously, in North America. But the service product mix market was like 10 times. And it was now this is all predictions, right? But it was very much a comment on this. There's this idea, and I'm living right now. There's this idea that, oh, hey, you can go to Lovable.ia, whatever it is, and you can make your own website. Someone's just got to have a better deliverable than they used to have. I have zero interest in taking that on, even though we could, right? Like what you just said, go find the young person just expect a lot more. You don't need someone with 3 degrees in computer science or whatever, right? It's, and I don't know where it's going to go, but it actually makes me feel a little bit better. Like the world's not going to implode.
You also
People
don't
still
need
jobs.
Herman Miller furniture and, and do a lot of shit
I think
without
it's going to go
money.
into prompt engineering, right?
Mhm.
Being
Oh,
able to
totally.
being able to get it to do exactly what you want it to do, right? So you get better at asking the question, then it'll get better at telling you the answer.
It's
Not quite there yet.
No, no.
Yeah, and that's what they say too. It's just fast Googling right now, right? I mean, we haven't got any into actual full-on intelligence into it yet. It can do stuff really quickly, but I don't think it's actually got the full intelligence yet. It's just smarter than us,
Oh, that's a low bar.
faster than us.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. One of the things related to the main theme of uncertainty that we had discussed was this idea of, first we were talking about quiet quitting. Now there's loud quitting. Loud quitting, I think, is just living the dream. It's standing up in the boardroom and just throwing papers in the air and, double fingers out all as you walk backwards and just like firing shots in the air. Love the idea. I've done it myself. I mean, not that dramatic, but I've had a few famous quittings.
Quiet, but wait a minute. So let's go back to quiet quitting.
Yeah.
For a second. Quiet quitting, I don't really get. Is it like if you get caught, like then you quit?
So let's
You can do
describe.
whatever you want.
Let's
You're in
just-
Mexico, but now if you get caught working from Mexico, I quit.
Well, it's essentially, so you hire Tom, right, against your better judgment, and Tom takes on the role of production manager, and you're like, so Tom, this is a 100% from home job. You just need to email these people every week. You gotta go to random stores and test the product. You just open the thing, take a swig, put it back on the counter. You're fine. All that stuff. And then Tom's like 100%, I'm in. But he's actually got another job and he barely does the email port. He's never even tasted Yeshi in his life. He knows what he's doing, but he's not going to,
Yeah.
he knows labor relations really well. So he's just going to keep doing the bare minimum, trying to get that paycheck. He 100% is looking for other opportunities, but he's not going to go ahead and quit. He's just quiet quitting, i.e. doing the bare minimum, waiting for you to fire him.
Right. Collecting his paycheck.
100%.
Yeah.
Anybody experiencing
Hoping
quiet
you're
quitters?
Well,
That's
for
right.
sure, there are a lot of owners struggling with that and what they want the culture of their outfit to be.
Mhm.
Definitely, there are a lot of folks that are, making it clear that people have to be working in the office, and that's not going to work for everybody. But ultimately, it's like as leaders, it's our job to decide what our culture is going to be, and what's going to be productive, what our strategy is, what works. So, I mean,
We actually had one. We had a girl that did that to us. She took off. She's like, oh, and work a couple days a week from home, and took off on a Thursday, called in sick on Friday, and turns out she was in Mexico. She had taken off on Thursday evening to go to Mexico. She's in Mexico trying to work from Mexico for the whole week, the next following week.
Now, not a counterpoint. I have a staff member right now. They approached me in January and said, hey, when I first came on, one of the things you had said is like, you'd be open to us like working from afar. And I was like, 100% I said that. And she's like, okay, well, I'd like to go to Ireland for a month. And I was like, awesome, go for it. And she was like, are you sure? And I said, oh, I'm totally not sure. But if you can do it and it works, that opens up windows for everybody. So I'm super curious if we can make this work. I'm curious what your internet's going to be like. And quite frankly, every single morning at 8:55 when we're doing our morning huddles and like it's coming preloaded with your pictures of all the stuff you're doing in Ireland, like we're all going to be on that trip with you. So like, let's do this. And that in her job, so far it's working out. You know what I mean? I don't know what the future is going to be like, but she's doing wonderfully.
See, I know for me that I could never do that. Like I wouldn't be a good work from home person.
Oh.
I need a place to go.
Same.
Right.
I'm right with you.
Yeah.
That's why I have this office here at Quench, who is sponsoring this podcast.
they are.
Yeah, they don't know it yet, but big thanks to Quench for sponsoring this podcast. We're enjoying fresh made yerba mate from the Quench restaurant and Victoria's finest non-infused gummies, or as we say, just plain sugar gummies. But anyway, yeah, sorry. You were talking about culture though. And I think what you two were saying so relates. You had someone clearly did not work with your culture So the question goes like, what are sort of how do you guys work that out? How do you bring someone into the culture, or do you do your best and then you watch for 3 months? And
I just really think that an owner sets up their shop. There's all kinds of market forces in front of you. The price of materials, what your customers need, and then there's what team do you have around you? And you got to work with what's there. Every business is this blueprint of its owner, right? With all of their foibles and strengths out on display for everybody. We're naked, right? All our people know what we suck at and just how badly and what we're awesome at. And they decide to stick around. Many don't. And the ones that do, right? Because it works for them.
But following the vision that you're setting forward, right?
Yeah. And I think accommodating everybody on everything endlessly is not going to forge a vision. But at the same time, you're all on this teeter-totter of like, it works for me, it doesn't work for me, but as long as you can keep people on the teeter-totter, as soon as they step off, the game ends.
That's right. For us, we did our core values really early.
Yep.
So I think that creating your core values and always going back to them kind of builds that culture, and that kind of, for us, it's a no bullshit. Like I don't have time to wait 6 months for you to fucking get on board. It's like, okay, you know what? I hired you because you're a marketing professional and you came into the interview and you told me that you could do a bunch of stuff. It's like, you need to come up with plans. You need to start actually making money. That's why I'm paying you. That's like, you need to tell me what to do. I'm not a marketing expert.
So for those of you still listening to the podcast post 40 minutes, we are all witnessing some residual anger towards somebody in marketing. For Paul, who did take a trip to Mexico, Paul's still clearly hurt by it. And we're having a bit of a therapy session. We're going to get it all out. And we're going to all be better for it. So well done.
It's because that's the one thing we've kind of turned into now, right? I mean, our company, since the production is gone, right? We basically turned into a sales and marketing company. So this is where, but it keeps falling down in this marketing person that keeps coming, or that I keep trying to hire and build that role. And it keeps falling apart because I don't know, maybe it's cultural thing in the marketing world where you just kind of chill and do your own thing. So, but anyway, back to the culture part of it. I really like Reed Hastings' culture at Netflix, and I love that freedom and responsibility thing. I don't track anybody's holidays. Like, that's not my job. If you're taking more than your fucking holidays, you're fired. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a kind of a known thing. If you're an adult and you're going to stay and do your job, then you got 4 weeks holidays, which is something that we give to everybody. And I think it's super generous. And if you want to screw around and try and sneak in an extra 3 days or 5 days or whatever that you don't deserve, then you just won't work there. So, and it doesn't come from an anger perspective, although I curse and I make it sounds that way because I'm passionate about it, but it comes from, we're adults and we all have thing to do here. And if you're not the one to do it for me or help us do it, not me, help the whole team do it, then you don't belong here anymore. And we're going to find somebody else that does, even if it takes a little while longer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's easy that, they're the people in the team that you just know they're on your team, and you would do anything for them. And when they do leave, it stings. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, fuck, we lost. He was so awesome.
Right.
But it's all the edge cases. It's all the people you don't feel passionate about, and where you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, are they not performing their best because what I've laid out, this system isn't bringing out the best in them? Or really, do we move on and find the guy that we're passionate about?
If I have to coach somebody into it, I'm like done already. Right? I'd rather hire the kid out of high school and just keep them and teach them everything.
Yeah.
Right. And put a computer in front of them and say, learn everything about marketing and I'll pay you till you learn it.
Mm-hmm.
So
one of the things, I don't know which book it was, but I know it wasn't from my head, but you read 50 chapters and at the end, you figure out that what they're saying is that vulnerability equals innovation. And what vulnerability is in this context is just, it's trust. And so if the three of us work together and we're in this little Quench office every day, over time, we're going to start to trust you. I'm going to start telling you about my AA meetings. And, we're just like, we all become friends, right or wrong. But because there's that trust, when we come to a work meeting and one of you wants to share with me or vice versa, because there's that shared trust, a lot more ideas come out and you have all that innovation.
No, I mean, I don't disagree with your point about trust, but I think that not everyone has an equal capacity for innovation.
Oh, no, I agree. But
and thank God, right?
No.
God.
No. But you know what? So when I talk about innovation, like I know there's like the storybook innovation, but like for us, think of a level 10 meeting in IDS. And so you are not supposed to show up to a meeting without an IDS.
Can I get something else off my chest?
Oh my God.
The fuck level 10? Right?
How is this
Why
hard?
don't they just call it "We're so fucking awesome" meeting? Well, let's just call it that and brand it. Can we do that? L10.
Level 20. Where's level 20?
Anyway, sorry. Okay, I got that off my chest. You were saying, dude?
All right. Sorry. We've obviously hurt Tom's ego. That's fine. Obviously, I run better meetings than Tom's dealing with that right now in real time. That's fine. But anyway, what I was just trying to say, like, is for us, it's just, we've got people that just won't say anything versus the people that'll say, well, this is a problem or that's a problem. Like innovation is just tell me what's wrong versus the people that just will like keep it inside or won't say anything. We get the best ideas from the people that are definitely switched on and like joined at the hip with everybody else. When we get together in person and have meetings, that board will be filled with things to do. And then we get this giant list of stuff that is all of our employees adding IP to the company without us doing anything, which we love. I only bring that up because we were talking about sort of your culture and you mentioned that, some places are working together, some places aren't. When you guys are hiring people now, do you find that people are absolutely always looking to be at home at least half time, or is it all over the place, or does it matter because you're putting on an ad says this is what it is? Or are they still coming in and asking for something different?
We have a lot of construction workers who are really insisting that they work from home. And I'm starting to find that maybe there's a problem. No.
I may have a solution. We'll talk.
I find that the younger people that we've hired over the last bit, they want to work in an office. They want to come in and show up every day.
Yeah, me too.
Right? We give people the option to work from home a certain number of days, and most people choose to come to the office every day.
And the way I do it, I got 100% trust in you on day one, right? I trust you to show up. I trust you to be as passionate as we are about it. Everybody else in the company, the people that we have working there now are that way, right? And if it's in 2 days, it's in 2 days. We do the trust. I trust everybody exactly what they put forward in their interview. And it's like you have to give them a person that kind of trust, like your family, right? They're welcoming into the family the same you would with your new son-in-law. You have to give him that trust because he's part of your family now. And it's up to him to kind of curb it. So back to trust in the room, I think that is a big part of how the team functions as well, right? If you have 3 people in a room and one person isn't willing to let go of something, well, then that creates some sort of tension in the workplace. And now your culture is off. Something like that, right? It's not because they're not performing.
Yeah.
Right? It has something to do with the culture.
I just, FYI for Tom, Paul and I actually had a conversation before this, and we both have what we think are a bunch of really innovative ideas for your business. And we know that you're really open to it and that you embrace innovation. So we're going to put that together for you, and you're welcome in advance.
You guys are awesome.
We are.
I'll show up earlier next time.
Now, we are getting towards the hour mark, and I'm wondering if corporate wants to jump in and do our official announcements.
I think we need special, the Metropolis at 6 music to come in.
Well, we'll try to find something that will stick in the middle.
Okay, what has EO got going on?
We got GLC, EO 1 Montreal, EO Montreal 1 Montreal, level 10 Montreal.
One Canada.
Really.
One Canada.
In Montreal.
Got it. Which is the premier, I think, event of the year. I'm going, a bunch of folks are heading there. Yeah, but I mean, everyone remembers when One Canada was in Victoria only 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and it was great. Montreal is just the most amazing venue to have a conference. One Canada is always fantastic because you've got whoever you've met at an EO event in the past from Canada, they all end up there. It's a great party.
Bro, Strombo is going to be there.
Yeah,
Strombo.
yeah. He's the MC.
Yeah. He's, I'm not trying to brag, but we have met in the past. Yes, I was just in lineup at a show, but still, we've shaken hands or bumped fists, whatever we're allowed to do at that point in life.
Right on. Okay, so that's a good one. We've got Greg Crabtree is.
Whoa! We gotta stick on the same theme of conferences.
Holy cow.
You can't go from conference to like our events. We need a plan here. We got to talk about Honolulu.
I was being like chronological.
Oh, you're chronological. Okay, so it is organized.
Hey,
I apologize. My innovation is not for you. I get it. You've made that clear.
Okay, read your damn newsletter.
I
don't get your news from us.
Okay, wait a minute. I don't know about the Honolulu thing.
Well, GLC, which stands for the Global Learning Conference, which happens every year at EO, whereas EO one EO, what's it called?
One Canada.
I can't even get. So One Canada, all joined, no division. One Canada is about sort of teaching you skills to help you in your business and life. GLC is very focused on not only, but there's a lot of stuff on how does EO work and how can you be better, like board member, regional member.
Yeah, it's for incoming board members. It's training for their board roles, along with a whole pile of learning in cool places.
It's a bit of a bait and switch. Hey, come to Hawaii. Oh, now you're stuck on the board for 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good.
Hey, I got to go to Singapore last year, and that more than made up for whatever.
Next year, after Honolulu, it's in Ireland, I believe, which I am trying to plan a family trip around, which is actually my way of getting permission for this year's trips by saying, hey, but next year, the whole family. My wife's like, how are we paying for it? I don't know. Don't ask questions. It's fine.
We'll figure it out later.
You're beautiful.
EO is going to make you so profoundly successful.
That's right. I'm going to be so successful from these conferences.
You're going to go there in your Gulfstream, as a matter of fact.
Now, there's a rumor on the street. I would like to know if you can verify this. Apparently, the one and only, quite famous on YouTube and other places, Greg Crabtree is coming to the area. Can you confirm this wild speculation that I'm putting out to the universe?
January 30th.
January 30th.
Langford Business Center.
That's a nice place.
It's like a couple days from now.
It is. Which is, I'm not sure this podcast is going in advance of that, but if it doesn't, it was an amazing event attended by many astute individuals, sold out.
There's another one I want to talk about, and it's not even an event yet, but Jason Cridge had this amazing idea for an end of year party at Poets Cove. Get everyone that's got a boat to meet at Poets Cove. If you don't have a boat, drive to Pender and canoe across from Scott Phillips Cottage.
Or jump
whatever.
with somebody.
Yeah, take a Harbor Air, whatever. Jump in with somebody.
Rent a boat.
Yeah, so we'll have like an end of year party there. Do a forum mashup. And it'll just be spectacular. And that'll be a great way to end the year in July.
This sounds wonderful. Very inclusive and easy to get to. So I love it. Yeah. Boat membership required. It's good. I like where we're going with this.
It's a good time to buy a boat. Maybe.
It is a good time
to forego the Gulfstream.
Hey, interest rates are going down. So why would you not buy a boat on the Never Never plan? More events? We've got lots of events. You have tons of events.
There are more events, but people can read the newsletter. If they've gone on an hour of listening to us, they need respite.
They need respite. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Paul, for attending. Glad we got time to get to your founder story. It was amazing.
On the next one.
That's right.
2C or 1C.
We have some amazing guests coming up. There's rumors that our president may be attending.
That was on the last podcast.
Well, yeah, there's still just rumors. There's rumors that Scott Phillips might be a podcast. There's also rumors that Tay-Tay might be on here.
Sting, actually.
And Sting as well.
Yes.
Taylor Swift and Sting. So you never know who's going to be here. So with that, we will sign off unless anybody else has any messages or advertising.
You're going to use an arrow.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.